Hello, hello. Welcome to the Afrocentric Woman. Thank you for tuning in. Um, I figured I was going to go live today because I actually have an event tomorrow, and so I'm prepping myself now by getting ready for it today because I really don't want to be super rushed tomorrow. So I'm pretty proud of myself. I ordered a new dress earlier this week, and actually, I ordered like six dresses, honestly, because when you're ordering online, you just don't know what's going to fit. So I ordered like six dresses, literally. Five of them have got here, and one of them's delayed, but it's all good because I already found the one I'm going to wear 9 times out of 10. I mean, if the other one comes through tomorrow and it fits better than the one I have, then that's great. If not, it's fine because I already have something that I can wear. Alrighty. I wanted, I was thinking I wanted to kind of like chit chat about dating and my roster, and I thought like more of like light topics. But honestly, I can't get off of my mind this little 2-year old baby that was taken off the face of this planet by her biological father. And so I figured I'd just talk about that because I feel like a lot of people are just like condemning it, which it's totally reprehensible. But I really feel like as women, we really just need to kind of have a conversation about what to do in situations like this. Um, I've alluded to what you know, information on this channel um, since its inception about what to do about custody situations, um, and some different creative ways that you can handle those. Um, but yeah, I have a lot of thoughts about this. I think at the crux of it is there's a lot of shoulds that can really be deadly. Like, someone should be safe with their father. They should, be able to do this, and, they should have access to their, and I should be able to trust him, and I should, you know, just should. And it's more should than what it is. It's more shoulds than what it is. And, shooting all over yourself can just really lead to disaster because it's dealing in what is the ideal situation and living in a fantasy world and hoping for the best and giving the benefit of the doubt and things of that nature. But I mean, I feel like we've seen time and time again how living in what should be versus what is can be a disaster. I think this is very early in this particular case, and I'm sure more information will come out, that can maybe be analyzed or dissected or, considered once it does come out. But between time, I will say that, sorry, y'all, I'm like doing my nails. I will say that in general, I think that women should do whatever it takes to protect their children. And sometimes, unfortunately, that means breaking the law, unfortunately, because the law has not caught up to narcissism, and the law has not caught up to psychopathy, and the law has not caught up to um, this particular pathology. It just hasn't. Um, Unfortunately, so-called fathers' rights, um, the courts in general just have a general, they have a general leaning that the child should have access to both parents, or that both parents should have access to the child, and that the child has equal right, or rather both parents have equal rights to the child. So pretty much the thought that, women have all these advantages in the court, they're really not true. Um, Usually if a dad tries to get custody, or usually whatever the dad wants, he usually gets it if he fights for it. The reason why women, especially black women, end up with the brunt of all the child rearing responsibilities and the child custody, being the custodial parent, being the residential parent and stuff like that, is because either the dad doesn't want it or the dad didn't fight for it. So it's kind of like defaults to the woman. But there's really like not much biases. Now in Houston, where this particular situation happened, I know for a fact that that entire state has a lot of leanings towards dads. A lot of leanings towards dads. So, so yeah, that's really a myth that, the courts are rigged against dads or anything like that. That's really not true. But I mean, it's really like not a one answer I could give you as to like how far you should take it to keep your kids safe, because every situation is, individualized. Every situation is individualized. And so it's really hard, but it's like as a mom, you really have to tap into your intuition, um, and know, what is safe, what is safe for your child. And you have to kind of suspend the people pleasing tendencies of not wanting to be appear to be the bad baby mama. I know I've talked about this on this channel. There's women who do some of the dumbest shit ever. I mean, just dumb, plump tomfoolery because they don't want to be considered the bad baby mama. Like, that's just like the worst thing that they could ever be called. You keeping that man from his baby, like, and they will do anything to avoid that label. They will do anything to avoid that label. They'll put their child in harm's way. I'm not talking about this mom of this case, okay? So let me just say that. I'm just saying in general. In general, I have observed I have observed black women doing very stupid things to avoid the title of being called a bad baby mama or a vindictive, bitter baby mama, keeping their baby from from the dad and stuff like that. Meanwhile, the person who is best suited to know the situation would be the woman who's in it. She's seen the guy at his worst and she knows what he's capable of. And she's the one who has the most vested interest in keeping her child safe. So I think that black women have to get stronger spiritually and be able to not, pander to or try to conform themselves to the community that doesn't really have their best interest at heart. People who aren't trying to keep them or the child safe. I mean, because I have seen time and time again with these stories where even the male family members, gosh, what story was that the other day? Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. The story, now this was an older couple where the guy who he was like a bailiff in the same area, the Houston area, and he ended up um taking his wife off the face of this planet. Well, he had been talking with the brother like all day about the situation and how angry he was and how he was going to go hulk on her and stuff like that. And it's like, do you think her brother got up and came to the house to help her out? No, he didn't. Like, this bro code is deeper than you would ever imagine. And this protect adult black males at all costs, it runs way deeper than women would even imagine. Like, your own father, your own brother, your own family members will sell you down the river for this unspoken, toxic bromantic bromance that they have with one another. So, in essence, like when it comes to keeping yourself safe and your children safe, you're really on your own. And I wouldn't even rely on male family members to do this, because there was another story that was out not long ago where it was the dad, I think, that was talking um, with the perpetrator who ended up taking his daughter off the face of this planet, and he didn't really pick up and move or do anything to keep her safe either. So anyway, I say that to say, you really have to take your own safety into your own hands, as well as the safety for your children. I have been a proponent for many years of doing whatever it takes to keep your children safe, because I am fully aware, and I'm fully understanding how far sociopathic, malignant narcs are willing to go when it comes to the children. And I know for a fact, both through personal experience and through working with women throughout the years, and just understanding just the general symptoms or manifestations of what malignant narcissism looks like. They don't love the children. They're not capable of loving anyone, not even themselves. And so the children are used as a pawn. The children are used as a pawn to exert power, to manipulate people, to have their will met. They also use the children to make themselves look good. We see these types of things where they'll post pictures of the children, and you know and and have matching outfits, or take the children. Well, back in the day, they used to take the children to the mall with Jordans on. I don't know that people still go to the mall very much these days, but that's what they used to do back in the day. But now it's more so social media. Get the kids on the social media, take some pictures, pretend to be a good dad. And it doesn't take much to get praise, and I've talked about this for years as well. It doesn't take much praise. It doesn't take much effort to get praised as a wonderful father. Like you literally can just have a pulse and show up, and you're like dad of the year. You're literally dad of the year. And as a woman, you could like sacrifice your left leg for your kid, and you're just like, nobody cares. Nobody cares. Oh, well, that's what you should be doing anyway. Nobody cares. Nobody cares. Literally, nobody cares. Um, People routinely watch black women drown, and say, "Oh well, you should have chose better," or "Oh well, it's it's not, it's just expected that you're supposed to just have the brunt of everything on your own because it's your fault. It's your fault." And you get that on all ends. You get that from the people who are supposedly pro black women. They'll tell you in a minute, it's your fault that you're in the situation that you're in. Oh well, too bad for you. And they will also watch you drown and die. And the people who are your adversaries, they will also watch you drown and die. So I mean, black women, we don't really, we black women mothers, we don't really have allies anywhere. You know, we really don't have allies anywhere. Gosh, why does this thing keep popping up? Um, so anyway, so we really have to take care of ourselves. Whereas when a man is supposedly raising his child as a single dad, he's never a single dad. He's never freaking a single dad. Everybody jumps in to help him. His mama, his aunties, his sister, whatever woman he's dating at the time jumps in and starts taking care of the kids as though those children were her own. Neighbors jump in, people at the school, anybody. They're like, "Oh my God, you're a single dad," and they just jump in and they start helping him, and he can pretty much live his life um without much interruption. Honestly, he could live his life without much interruption. As a so-called single dad, they're never a single dad. But women, people will literally watch you drown, die, and starve, and not lift a finger to help you because you should have chosen better and it's your fault. But anyway, that's another topic for another day. Anywho, I really think that Black women have to uh, absolve themselves of this people pleasing behavior of not wanting to rock the boat and not wanting to make a splash because it's just a life or death situation when you're talking about the safety of your children. I mean, it is a life or death situation. I mean, we're seeing it over and over again because you know what we don't see? We don't see the smaller things that are happening. We're not seeing the injuries. I remember reporting on a story a long time ago on a totally different platform about a man. I think he was like, I don't know if he was the biological dad or the stepdad or whatever, but he took this little baby. This baby was like, I don't even think the baby was 2, and he like put his hands in like scalding hot water. And the babies like had like deformed hands and stuff like that, um due to their injuries and stuff. And so there's a lot of stories that we don't even see, that don't, like, we see the stories that result in death, but there's so many injuries that you wouldn't know about that is happening at the hands of so-called stepdads, biological dads, boyfriends, and the like. um Due to just the most arbitrary things. Just I mean, of course, at the core of these people, I mean, not only are they ignorant, but they're evil, down to the core. And so it could be just any arbitrary reason why they're harming these children. And there's a subset of Black women that continue to put their children in harm's way because it should be safe. I should just be able to go to work, and this person should be able to babysit my child, or they should be able to be here because they had this child with me too. I mean, there's just any any number of reasons that Black women have. And I feel like there's some practical solutions that can be implemented right now that can help keep the children safe. One of which is, I just think, across the board, especially if you're not married, which most of these children are coming into the world without being married, without the parents being married. I don't think that the dad needs to go on the birth certificate until he proves himself to be a good dad. I don't think that that should be an automatic um thing. I mean, that's like the number one thing I think. I don't think that, oh, well, he's the child's father, so therefore he should go on the birth certificate. I don't think so. I think that we need to rethink that. I don't think that that's wise because once that person goes on the birth certificate, even if they're not the biological father, they have equal rights to that child. And this isn't coming in the midst of this person being a total, mess up and goof off and just like totally inadequate during the relationship, during the pregnancy, don't have any type of way to provide for the child and really hasn't proven themselves to be worthy of fatherhood. um eh, I think that that just needs to be a practice that's left in the past. If you're not married, don't put them on the birth certificate. Just don't do it. I mean, if you're pregnant now and you're thinking about it, because you know what, most black when I talk to Black women about this issue, it's never about what they think. It's always about what other people think. Even when it comes to the last name thing. They're not worried, even if they were like, "Well, I wouldn't wanna do it, but, my mama or his mama or whatever," and they start bringing up all these extra people who, at the end of the day, it's like, you're the one who's gonna have to push this kid out. You're the one who has to risk your life bringing the child into the world. You're the one who is gonna be waking up in the middle of the night. um you're the one who's gonna be getting throwed up on and peed on and everything else. You're the one who's gonna be having to deal with the tantrums. You're the one who's gonna have to do all the things. So, it doesn't make sense to sit up here and be consulting all these people who don't have as much skin in the game as you do. You really do need to be the ultimate authority of how this child is going to come into the world and how they're going to be reared and who's going to have rights to what. The mother should be the ultimate authority of that because we are the ultimate responsible party. The buck stops with us. So that is an authoritative position that um, Black mothers are going to have to fully step into and stop worrying about what people are going to say about your decisions for your child, especially when it comes to safety. I think that Black women are really going to have to ask themselves the questions of what do I want? What do I wish was the situation? And what is my actual situation? When it comes to domestic violence, if a man has gone upside your head, he is likely to be violent towards your child. He don't love you, obviously. And so the likelihood of him being violent towards your child is very high. Now, this is just something that the courts definitely don't understand. For example, if someone towards you that does not terminate their parental rights, that doesn't have anything to do with their parental rights. They can go upside your head and still maintain their parental rights. Okay? So, um that's why you really have to kind of start taking things into your own hands. And I'm telling you, if you could just keep them off the birth certificate, that will solve a lot. Okay. That will solve a lot. That will prevent a lot of problems. Well, I mean, of course, just don't deal with them. But I'm talking about the people who are already pregnant or already have a child. Okay. We can't go back and we can't undo what is done. It is what it is. But for those who have an opportunity to make that decision, I would urge you to really, really consider keeping them off the birth certificate. Give them a few years to prove themselves as a good father. Because, I mean, by default, you already prove yourself as a good mother just by carrying the child and doing the things that you need to do, going to the doctor, going to your appointments, eating good, trying to take care of yourself. And then making the ultimate sacrifice of like putting the child through the world, through bring the child in the world. You prove yourself through pregnancy, but he doesn't really have a way to prove himself to be a good father. And if he hasn't been a good boyfriend and he won't make you a wife, he's already failing. You see, he's already coming up inadequate. uh, just in and of that, he would have the opportunity to bring his child into the world, into a stable family. But when he's choosing not to do that, when he's choosing to create instability for you and the child, you have to take that to heart because that's an active decision. Now, that it may not even be like, oh, well, he has all these things and he just won't do it. A lot of times they don't do it because they're just inadequate in and of themselves. They're stupid, they're ignorant, they're uneducated, they're traumatized, they're demonic. They have all kinds of problems and deficiencies. They can't even manage their own life. They can't even manage their own life. They don't even have anything to offer you, the child, nobody. And so that already in and of itself disqualifies them really from fatherhood. You see what I'm saying? So why should somebody who's inadequate be on the birth certificate? It makes no sense. They haven't even proven themselves to be a good man, less known a father. Another thing that I really want Black women to consider is paper trails of DV. Okay. Um, I have seen petitions for uh I've seen petitions for restraining orders that are inadequate. Like, Black women are so protective of these bandits, even in the face of death. Even in the face of their own mortality, they will protect these bandits. I've seen restraining orders like, oh, well, he tried to do this, but he's a good father. Okay, so he's going upside your head, kicking in your door with your child, you and your children in the home. He's kicking in the door while the children are there, going upside your head, trying to run you over, and you're writing to the judge and telling the judge that he's a good father. Like, black women, y'all got to stop doing this because these women are ending up off of the face of this planet. You're doing the ultimate sacrifice at the altar of black male worship when you're protecting them in the midst of your own mortality, your own life or death situation. And instead of being honest and doing whatever it takes to stay safe, you're still trying to protect them at the last hour. And I've seen this go terribly wrong so many times. And I think at the heart of this problem is the people pleasing and ridding yourself of the people pleasing, and also relinquishing yourself from the role of protecting black men. You have to let that shit go. Let that shit go. Because I've seen so many women literally pass away trying to protect black men. Oh, well, he pulled a gun out on me, but I don't want to call the police because you know how the police is against black men. This programming, this social programming, it has done a number on black women. It has done a number on black women, and it really took a while to kind of understand what they've been doing all these years with this programming, this police brutality bullshit. Are so effing programmed. Many of them are so programmed with this police brutality. Oh, the police are unfair to black men, that in the midst of their own mortality, they're willing to sacrifice themselves to protect black men. Oh, well, I'm not going to tell the whole story to the police officer because I don't want him to take him away to jail. And I've seen these women end up 6 feet under in pursuit of protecting black men. And now we're seeing that the babies are also meeting their untimely demise as well, with the women who are trying to protect these black men, or just not knowing that you would have to take it. As far as you think you would need to take it even further. Take it even further than you think you need to take it when it comes to keeping yourself safe, because you've got to be completely honest in these petitions for um, restraining orders. Don't just call the police off. Don't just call in a problem, because I'll be honest, a lot of times law enforcement do not take black women serious. And the reason why they don't take black women serious is because black women at the 11th hour try to protect black men. They don't give complete statements. They don't come and testify. They don't file the proper paperwork. You see what I'm saying? And so we have a bad reputation in law enforcement that we are not to be taken serious because we will always protect the perpetrator. And they know that we have a so this woman that I'm speaking of now that just lost a 2-year-old baby, I think she called in on him a few times, but that wasn't enough. What she should have done was call CPS and filed a report on him a long time ago. The first time he mishandled that baby, because I can promise you that time he took that baby off the face of the planet, that is not the first time he has mishandled that baby. I know that for a fact. The first time he was rough with the child or neglected the child, did not change her diaper, did not feed her, dropped her off somewhere, or was late picking her up to daycare or whatever. The first infraction that he ever did, she should call CPS on his ass. That's what she should have did, and opened up a case. Because once a case is open in CPS, they're mandated by the state to investigate. I wouldn't just call the police. I would call the police too, but I would file a child protective service complaint against him. I sure would. I sure would. Oh, but that's her daddy. It don't matter. Obviously, it's not. Like, dad is not a title through biology. unfortunately. Mother is, yeah, but father is not. Okay. Father is a title that is earned through action. You have to show that you actually love the child before you get the title of father. Clearly, this bandit should never have been called anybody's dad and should have never had any access to this child. Period. Period. So, so that is something that Black women need to do. They need to start involving multiple agencies, whatever it takes. And I've always said, as a last resort, you may need to leave the country with your baby. Okay, I mean, I'm just saying, it just depends on what level of narc you're dealing with. The narcs who have a lot of money and they're very vindictive, yeah, those are the situations that you might need to move and leave the country. I would never advocate for you to break the law, but I would tell you, don't stop at anything to keep your children safe. If the law is not enough, I would say exhaust everything. Exhaust everything that you have legally at your disposal, but if it's not enough, then do whatever it takes to keep yourself and your child safe. And if you need to disappear, disappear. You need to disappear, disappear. It will be better that you disappear on your own than be disappeared by a bandit or have to live with the fact of your child getting taken off the face of this planet before you leave this earth or y'all leave the earth together. Either way it goes, you have to really be very sober and willing to do whatever it takes to keep yourself and your child safe. If you have to leave, move states, move states. Another thing that Black women need to access is domestic violence resources. Like, you can get a victim advocate through the court. You can get a victim advocate. All you have to do is call a domestic violence shelter. Even if they cannot house you, they can still assign a social worker to you. And that social worker or victim advocate can walk you through the legal system and everything that you need to do. They can walk you through everything that you need to do. They can walk you through filing the restraining orders. They can walk you through CPS. They can walk you through finding housing. They can walk you through. Did you can break your lease if you're a victim of domestic violence, stalking, or intimate partner violence. SA. You can break your lease. Also, if you have a phone contract, uh, like a cell phone contract, and you need to change your number, the law says that if you are a victim of stalking, harassment, domestic violence, those kinds of things, you can change your phone number or you can cancel your phone contract and get another phone so that you can disappear. You can, get some distance in between you and the perpetrator. But Black women are going to have to start accessing those resources. I wouldn't look to my family to keep me safe. I don't know that I necessarily would do that because I think a lot of times family does not have enough information and they're too caught up in black male worship themselves to really be of assistance. There's been so many times where the family is like, I don't know where this came from. He wasn't that bad of a guy. Or, I was talking to him about it, and then boom, he took the family member off the face of this earth. So I really wouldn't rely on family, to be honest. Um, I would rely on the systems that are in place that can help you for real, that could actually provide you with resources and with guidance to help you in the situation. Because there's a lot of resources out there to help that a lot of Black women don't access. I think there's just too much stigma around um, domestic violence. Like, oh, like we're supposed to be these tough, combat warrior fighters that are supposed to be able to go toe to toe, blow for blow with these bandits. And so, there's a lot of Black women who feel a sense of, shame or stigma or whatever for like saying, hey, like I'm a victim of DV. And it's like, no, like at the end of the day, you are a woman. Remember, you're a woman first. You're not supposed to be a kung fu fighter, uh, you know, brawling with these bandits because they will always, I promise you, they'll always take it further than you're willing to take it. They'll always take it further than what you're willing to take it. So, um, access those resources, especially when it comes to keeping your child safe, because it's going to help keep you accountable as well. Because if a CPS case is opened up and they're investigating and they have identified a an actor that is violent or putting the child in harm's way, then you will be mandated to keep the child away from that person. And so if the woman doesn't keep the child away from that person, then the child can be taken away from her as well. So sometimes that's the best way to make women stay away from the perpetrator is when it comes to being able to keep custody of her children. You see what I'm saying? Gosh, there's just so much. There's so many thoughts that I have about this. I remember many years ago, my godmother told me a story. She told me that maybe it was like her, I don't know if it was her first or second or third child. I don't remember which one it was, but it was one of her children. Anyway, she said she was with the child's father, and she said he was literally like the love of her life. She loved him so much. He was just like the best lover in the world. And one day she left. I think the baby was maybe 8 or 9 months. She left. She needed to do something. I don't remember what it was. And she came back, and the baby was in the same diaper that she left it in. And, the baby had soiled herself. I don't remember if it was her son or her daughter. I don't remember. But the baby had soiled itself and was just walking around with this super full, dirty diaper. And she asked him, like, "Hey, why didn't you change the diaper?" And he was like, "Oh, well, I just figured I would wait for you to get back and do it. I really didn't know. I really didn't know what to do." And she said she packed her bags that same day and she left. Now, this was years ago when I heard this story, and I was like, "Why? Why wouldn't you just work with them and, why wouldn't you just explain to him, why he needed to do it? Like, why wouldn't you just, isn't that kind of harsh just walking out on the father of your child and y'all have a family together? And, why would you do that?" But like in hindsight, I get it. In hindsight, I get it. You know, or well, I will say this. You need to be in tuned enough with your self-preservation to know when somebody don't love you and when they don't love your child. Because if you yourself, you the woman, if the woman has no sense of self-preservation, just none, she is not really able to really fully see when people don't love her child, especially like the dad. She's not able to see that because she is not she doesn't put herself first. She's not trying to survive and thrive. She is just she's just living a different type of existence. But when you're a woman who is self-preserving and you put yourself first and you want to live, you actually want to survive, you are able to see danger more easily, right? You're able to sense those kinds of things And I think that where my godmother was at the time was just a self-preserving woman, and she could see the writing on the wall. Like, you by yourself, the guy, speaking of the guy, him by himself acting on his own instinct and acting as he would naturally without being coerced, without being cajoled, without being led, without being prompted, without being um, you know, strong armed or forced or coerced into doing something, just him acting on his own. What did he do? He neglected the child for like hours and had no reason for it. And so, will it ever get better? Probably not, right? Probably not. So, that is something that you can like nip in the bud right away. I'll give you a personal story. Um, so as for me, do I think my child's father loves her? I would emphatically say no. I do not think that he loves her. I know that he doesn't love her. And she is even getting to the point of understanding that when she asks me questions and I have to answer her in a age appropriate way, but she's getting the point. She's starting to get really understand like this guy does not give a shit about me. She's starting to understand that because I can't be too, I have to be really careful with my words, but I have no desire to lie. I have no desire to um, cover up for this person, for him, or make any excuses for him. I don't have any incentive to do any of that. So I try to dole out the truth as much as I can in an age appropriate way. Okay. So I say all that to say I know that he does not love my child. And I know that a lot of the things that he has done over the years, a lot of it has been for me. So when he was coming around, it was usually it was completely excuse me. It was completely in hopes of like being close to me. It was in hopes of like being in the around me. It was like, trying to like be nosy to know like what is going on in my life. Am I dating someone else? Um, looking for an opportunity to try to come back into my life, trying to exert some type of control over me or, whatever. So that's what that was about. It was never about my kid, and I peeped that pretty early on. Excuse me, that it wasn't about her and he didn't care about her and I knew that even when I was pregnant. And with his family, I would say it's similar. I would say it's similar. Like I don't think that they really care about my child. There's been instances where, I have expressed concern or I've asked questions about, safety related questions, and I'm met with hostility. I'm not met with collaboration. Like, okay, we're all here to keep all the children safe. And, you know, I'm here to partner with you to keep your daughter safe. And I'm here to answer any questions that you have about safety related, and I'm totally transparent and open about everything that's going on here because I have nothing to hide and I'm all about safety. I didn't receive that. I was met with hostility. Like, who are you to ask me this? Who are you to ask me that? Like, just hostility in general. Like just offensiveness. Like, well, are you, we are a safe family. We're safe. We're safe. And it's like, yeah, well, I don't know that. And I have questions because this is my baby and it's my job to keep her safe. And so anybody, I don't give a shit if it's blood or not. I mean, anybody that's not on the same page with me about safety, I'm not going to have my child around that person. And it just is what it is. It just is what it is. So that got nipped in the bud. She don't go over there with them, and she don't go nowhere with him. I would not, due to behavior that I have observed over the past few years, I would never turn my child over to this guy. Never. Never. I don't trust him as far as I can see him. Don't trust him. I don't give a shit if he's her dad. I don't care. I don't trust this dude. And he will never, ever be having my child out of my sight. It will never happen. It will never happen. He don't know where she go to school. He don't know where we live. Okay? Certainly does not. And he won't. And call himself getting mad because I let her talk to him well, it's not the other day. It was quite a while ago. And I kind of monitor the conversations to see how it's going. And my daughter was about to tell him that where we moved and what school she was going to, and I was like, no, ma'am, you better stop. And he's still mad about that to this day, so he won't talk to her now because of that. Because I did not allow her to disclose that information. So this is the thing about love, okay, and this is the thing about true love, real love. If you really loved your child, it wouldn't matter that the mom is not allowing the child to disclose where she lives. If you really love your child and you really wanted to talk to them, you would call them anyway, right? You would call them anyway. You would try anyway. You would just do what you could do. But with these guys, with a lot of them, it's not about that. It's about trying to exert control. It's about, their egos being bruised. It's about, using the child as a pawn. And so if they can't um have it their way right away at Burger King now, then they're going to they tend to like back away from the child. And they'll even tell you that in so many words, like, well, I love my child to the extent that I love the mother, and I'll have access to my child. I'll spend time with my child to the extent that I have access to the mother. I mean, and this has been going on for decades. This is nothing new. So the love for the child is not independent. It's really like not a full out love. It's like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's definitely not love. It's not parental love. It's just not. So I'm not asking anybody to do anything that I wouldn't do, and I'm not asking any black mother to do anything that I'm not currently doing. When you see that somebody does not love your child, it is your duty to protect your child from them. It don't matter who they are. Daddy, grandmama, whoever. Whoever, granddaddy, uncle, whoever. It's your duty to keep your child safe. And so I've had to walk that path myself. It's not easy, but I mean, I've set myself up to I've set myself up to where it's easy, probably easier for me than it is for others because of a lot of things that I put in place. I mean, it's not fun, but I mean, there's a lot of things I saw during the pregnancy that kind of already let me know what it was. And I'm not here to battle what is. I'm not here to deny reality. I'm here to see what's going on and react accordingly. React accordingly. I remember you know, when my daughter was a little baby, and yeah, ironically I was talking to my stepmother. I'm not my stepmother, my godmother, and I was telling her, I was like, "Yeah, I've got all this anxiety. I don't know why." Um you know, I was just telling her I had like anxiety. I was feeling like a lot of anxiety and uneasiness. especially at home. And she asked me what was going on at home. And I told her, I was like, well, we're really not together. We're just kind of in this house. Um, and he says he wants to stay because of our daughter. And she was like, yeah, he's got to go. You got to get him out of that house. Um, you need to let him know that he's got to go and when he wants to get out. Like, and it needs to be within 2 weeks. And I don't know, it's just such a relief for me to hear that from her because I just knew it was true. I don't know. It's just sometimes it's hard to move um, when you're just going through so much and you're trying to adjust to motherhood. It's just a lot. It's a lot. But I knew she was right, and I was like, "Hey," I had to have that conversation, like, "Hey, bro, you gotta get up out of here. This ain't working." And he was like, "Oh, what about my daughter? I don't want to leave my daughter." And I'm thinking in my head, like, you're full of shit. Like, you have not changed one fucking diaper. You don't wake up in the middle of the night. My daughter had acid reflux when she was a little baby. She had acid reflux for like the first 3 months of her life. So I had to hold her like upright for like hours and I was exhausted. I was exhausted and just delirious. I was sleep deprived, everything, all the things. And he never helped me with anything. And I'm like, you're full of shit. You don't give a damn about her. You don't like your daughter, like you just don't want to fucking get out. You're just lazy and broke. You don't want to go out and find a fucking house. This is my fucking house. Get out. Um I think I left I did a video not long ago when I told you I was like, don't ever move a man in the house with you. Don't ever let a man move in with you. And I stand by that, okay? Through personal experience as well as observation. But yeah, I think that, his main motive was just like having a place to live, not having to go back to his family's house as a grown old 40-year-old man or whatever. However, he was damn near 40 at the time. Um, so, but that's not my problem. Like none of that shit is my problem. I have a few issues, and one of which is to take care of myself. And then the other issue that I have is to take care of my daughter and to like run my business. But like a grown ass man, I did not birth you. You're not my responsibility. And so I don't give a shit where you live. You can live on the side of the road. You can live in your car. It's not my problem. You're a grown man. You're able bodied. And you can make it on your own. If I can make it as a woman, you can make it too. And you're not my responsibility. I mean, at least even as a pick me, at least I know. I've always kind of had those principles though. Even in my worst pick me days, I've always appreciated a self-sufficient man, even as a pick me. I mean, those are just qualities that I've always appreciated. And I had absolutely, even as a pick me, I had absolutely no intentions of paying bills in a house of a man that I'm like cooking and like taking care of a household. Oh hell no, I'm not about to be fucking paying no bills. Okay. So I already had that in my mind, like, well, you better start making more money because I'm about to start paying less and less bills. And I had already started that process. Okay. And the less bills I paid, the more disgruntled he became. And so I was like, oh yeah, well, this ain't gonna work because even as a pick me black male worshiper, I did not want to pay no bills. Okay. I didn't want to pay no bills. I just had a baby. And I do the most of the majority of the stuff inside the house. I'm not about to do the majority of the stuff in the house and pay bills. That don't work. That is not mathing, sir. I'm sorry. That is not mathing. That ain't nowhere in my equation. That ain't nowhere in my life plan did I have planned to do that. So you got to go. So anyway, I say all that to say, you know, that's what I'm talking about, that whole pawn situation that they use the children as a pawn. So it's like, okay, when faced with being removed from this house, now all of a sudden you have all this love and admiration for this child. Whereas you haven't really demonstrated any of that on your own. Now you're put in a situation where you have to go, and now there's all this newfound love that I never knew existed. that just coming out of nowhere. Like, no, I don't believe that. I don't believe it. So this is definitely a path that I have had to go down on myself. And, I know that he has like some chronic illnesses and mental da 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 da. And so I think to myself, like, I just don't know what is going on with this person. I don't know what's going on in their head. Are they sitting there stewing in their, are they sitting stewing in their thoughts? Are they wallowing in depression, and like, physically deteriorating and financially in ruins. And it's like at this point, he has nothing to lose, and I continue to thrive, and I continue to age backwards, and I continue to look beautiful, and I continue to just keep leveling up, and I'm doing it, and I'm making it happen, and I know that that breeds resentment. Like, these guys get so resentful and bitter and vindictive and angry because of your success as a collective. They sit there and they look at Black women thrive and they hate it. They want you to be in the gutter. They want you to die a slow and painful death. Like, if you're using food stamps or something to feed the kids, they want to take the food stamps. They want you and the baby to get out on the street and starve. And they say that. Like, they say that. Like, they don't want the children to eat. Okay, they don't want the children to be housed. They don't want the children to have access to health care. They don't want so it's like, I the guy, I will not provide these things to these babies, and I don't want the government to provide these things to the babies. I want these babies to die. And they keep saying that resoundingly, and Black women refusing to listen because it sounds so horrible and so wretched and so demonic and so evil. It's like you just don't want to accept that that is what's being said, but that is what's being said. When someone says that I won't provide for the child and I curse you for taking government assistance to take care of the child, or affirmative action, or, a special grant for Black women, or a special loan for Black, or whatever the vehicle that the resources are coming, they don't want those vehicles or resources coming for the Black woman or the children, and they also are unwilling, unable, and don't want to do it. So the other answer is, the true desire is they want you and the children to perish and die a slow and horrible, painful death. That is their big desire. So that's on a macro scale. And on a micro scale, I can say that this individual, my child's father, I know is probably stewing in resentment and God knows what else. As I continue to thrive and level up, there's just ain't no way on the face of this planet that I would release my child to him. I have no idea what's going on in this demented person's head. I don't know. Do I think he's happy for me? Hell to the no. Does he love my child? Hell to the no. Does he thank me for the sacrifices that I made for this child? Hell to the no. No, he does not. He doesn't give a shit. Doesn't know if she eats, doesn't know if does she have health care, doesn't know her teacher's name, doesn't know what she likes, doesn't know if she has any illnesses, doesn't know her allergies, doesn't know shit about my kid. And do you think I would release my child to someone who's resentful of me and envious of me? Someone who has nothing to lose? And just release my child to him? Hell the fuck no. Like, you'd have to go through me. You'd have to neutralize me before you get to her. And I tell you, you would come against, it would not be easy. Like, it wouldn't be, I'm never going to make it. It would not be easy. It would be very difficult to neutralize me. It ain't going to never happen. Not on the face of this. It's not going to happen in this lifetime. I'm willing to do anything to protect my child. I'm willing to do anything to protect myself. I will do the paperwork on the back end. Okay, I'll get a lawyer, do the paperwork on the back end. I'll fix that shit on the back end. But on the front end, you ain't about to get my baby. And that just is what it is. I don't give a shit who you are. It just ain't about to happen. I think that, a prioritization of self and children is at the heart of this epidemic of children getting taken off this planet. We have to look at hard look at how children have been deprioritized and just kind of left into the just left very vulnerable and very unprotected. And if they daddy ain't gonna protect them, then the mama bear gotta protect these babies at all costs. Mamas gotta protect their babies. This programming, the programming of the police brutality bullshit and oh, protect the black man and the police is so unfair and all this type of shit. That programming runs so deep, and I think that that's why what uh what we're doing is definitely not in vain. And I think that it's going to take more work and effort, but black women have to be deprogrammed to be self-sacrificial, and black women have to be deprogrammed. Uh, they have to take that rhetoric out of their head and they have to start challenging those beliefs. The belief that every single police interaction is going to end up in a black man dying, or some type of police brutality. Like, that is the underlying belief, that is the underlying talking point, that is the underlying thing that these bandits want black women to believe. And that the underlying belief that it is black women's responsibility to protect black men, and that if black woman calls up the police or calls in some type of agency for protection, whatever it is, maybe it's the court, maybe it's the district attorney, maybe it's a domestic violence organization, maybe it's CPS, whatever the agency is that if there's a negative outcome because you've sought out assistance against a black man, that it's your fault. When it's like, no, it's not. That is a limiting belief that needs to be challenged. Because at the end of the day, these bandits have every choice in the world. They could do whatever the fuck they want to do. They could be good people, but they choose not to. They choose not to. They choose to be degenerate. And so, you make your bed, you lie in it. It's like once you make a choice, everything that happens therefore after is not, it's like out of my, it's all, this is a chain of events that you have started. Okay, so if you put your hands on me, there's going to be a whole chain of events that happen that is everything that happens after that is like it's related to what the fuck you did. It's what you did. Okay, it's what you did. So if somebody puts their hands on you and there's a whole thing, and now there's court, and now there's bond, and now there's arrest, and da 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 da, now there's a record. Oh, now they're the felon. None of that shit is on you, black woman. None of it's on you. You don't have any responsibility. You don't have any obligation. You don't have any loyalty to protect anybody that will put their hands on you or to do wrong by your child. Oh, well, I don't want to put him on child support because. Well, sometimes, yeah, it makes sense to just not put them on child support. A lot of times with a lot of them, they're so malignant, you're better off just washing your hands of the entire situation. And I've talked about this on this channel. If they're willing to sign their rights away so that they don't have to pay $200 a month for child support, then just forego the fucking $200 a month, have them sign over their rights, and then don't deal with them ever again. If you ever want to deal with them, it's going to be because you want to do it. It's going to be under your terms. It's going to be under your, like, what you say. You will have ultimate authority. It's not going to be a court order that says you have to release your child to this person. This person can roll up to the school and pick your child up. This person can roll up to the daycare and get your baby because the court said. You'd be better off washing your hands of the entire situation. If that's the case, well, he should pay child support. There we go. We're shooting again. We're shooting again. I didn't have this. I didn't make this child by myself, and he should pay and he should help. Yeah, we're shooting again. Yeah, he should, but like it ain't that though. And you have to look like your child's safety versus the $200 a month or whatever it is, the $75 a week, whatever pennies this dude is about to pay you. And you're gonna release your child to them. So they're narcissistic towards you. How do you think that they're gonna treat the child? They're irresponsible with you. How do you think they're gonna be with the child? They keep bad company. How do you think they're gonna be with the child without you being in their presence? Oh, well, he gonna take her to his mama house. Always remember this, black woman. When you dealing with a bandit that don't take care of their fucking child and they just drop the baby off with the grandmama, his mama, always remember this. His mama raised him. Do you really want this woman having an influence on your child? She raised him. He ain't shit. And now this woman is gonna have the most influence on your child because he don't even take care of the baby. He get the baby, take the baby to his mama and go on about his damn business, doing whatever the fuck he doing. What kind of quality grandmama is she? What is she gonna teach your child of substance? She just gonna sit up there and make all kinds of excuses. She gonna confuse your child because she gonna tell your child that the daddy is the best thing since sliced bread, and your child is gonna be confused as hell. Well, wow, because he really look like he ain't shit. And then the baby gonna be looking at you like, well, grandmama said this, and you know, and my daddy is this, and my daddy that, and you won't let him do this, and you won't let him do that. And now this woman has sowed confusion in your household and within your child because she raised him. And that's her, exalted baby Jesus son put upon a pedestal that can do no wrong. In the midst of doing wrong, he can do no wrong. You can only imagine the level of confusion that would instill in the child. Or God forbid she don't like you, your baby look like you, and then she mistreats your child to spite you, because they do that too. So sometimes you just got to throw the whole family away. Sometimes you just got to throw the whole family away. Hopefully, I mean, in a perfect world, we would be the last generation of this in mass. Maybe there'll be, instances of this scenario, instances of this dynamic, but hopefully in mass and in majority, this can be the last generation of this bullshit because it's extremely dysfunctional. And it's not ideal to have to throw the whole family away in the trash. Just trash them all. That's what the fuck I did. I just trashed them all. Like, y'all all can go to the trash. Ain't nobody over here worth a dime. Okay? Ain't nobody over here worth a dime. Nobody. The aunties, him, all of y'all can go to the trash. Because in the midst of all of that, you have to fortify your child because they take everything so personal. You know, their world is very small, and the abandonment, the lies, the broken promises, they take all of that stuff to heart and they internalize a lot of it. So you're also tasked with constantly processing through those things in a way that is age appropriate. That way, things are not ignored. The more things that is ignored in childhood, that's more work that they're going to have to do when they get older. They're going to be on somebody's couch crying and breaking down of all the stuff that's been unprocessed and hasn't been talked about. So you're better off just talking about it as you go along. as things unfold, as they start to mature and they start to understand what's going on, that you just be honest with them and just tell them the truth. Just tell them the truth. Trying to remember what she said the other day. I'm trying to remember what she said the other day. I don't quite remember. I know, like, he had promised her an iPad for, like, ever. He had promised her an iPad for, like, maybe 6 months or something. Anyway, so he finally, um, contacted me about it, or maybe I contacted him about it, I don't remember, and he was like, "Okay, yeah, I'm gonna meet you to give you the iPad." So he came and he brought the iPad. The iPad was used. It looked like he had just, like, I don't know where he got it from. Looked like he snatched it out of somebody's kid's hand or something. Or maybe it came from a pawn shop. I don't know, but it was used. It had no charger. It wasn't in a box. It wasn't new, excuse me. It wasn't new. Um and it didn't work. So by the time we got it home and tried, I had to buy a charger for it because it didn't have a charger. Um it didn't work. It wouldn't update. It was just really old and just outdated, and we couldn't do a software update. It was just a lot of things going on. And I remember my daughter saying something like recently. She was like, "Yeah, Daddy lies, and he said he was going to give me this thing, and he gave me this tablet. It doesn't even work, and you know he I don't know if she said, like, "He's not really a good guy, but it's okay, like, I think it's okay, like, he's still my dad," or something like she said, but I know that eventually it's just gonna get to this, like, "This dude is trash." Like, I mean, that's where it's going, because another thing that I'm also trying to do, but, it's kinda hard for me to do, but I'm trying my best to do it, is I'm showing her, like, what men do for me, like what men do for other women, like, so that she can understand what to expect, what to demand, what to expect, what to command, what to, just like the type of life that she should be living. So I date a lot of people, so I don't want her to be privy of all of that because it's team too much. But at the same time, it's like I have flowers at the house, or I may go out to dinner, or I get dressed up and I look really pretty, and all of these different things. And like, I want her to understand that I am getting taken care of. You know what I mean? Like, I'm getting taken care of. And so you should expect this. So I've been able to introduce her to like a couple of guys, like three that are very stable. So like my main guy, he donated to like her school donation thing she was doing, and so she knows about that. And then he fixed something on my car the other day. I let her know about that. So like it took me a while to just like strategically think about, you know, who I do want to talk to her about, but I did tell, "Oh, Mr. So and so, fix this on mommy's car because, that's what men do. They help us with our cars." And so he helps mommy with her car. Um, I had a friend take her to the daddy daughter dance. And then I have another friend that supports her golf. So he, helps me get all the golf equipment because he's like a avid golfer. So he gets all the golf equipment for her, all the golf attire, da 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 da. So I let her know about that, and she's met him before, and he's like, you know, I went to go like pick up her stuff, and so like that's it. Like for now, like I'm comfortable with just the way things are, but like as I'm talking to her about these topics, and I may like be playing Shira in the car or playing what's her name, Ziva in the car or something like that, and letting her listen to these things, and she's hearing the conversation about men being providers, and me constantly instilling in her what she should expect and what good men constitute. So she on her own has come to the conclusion that her dad ain't shit because she knows that her dad doesn't do these things. And I make sure that she knows that I will take her to the park to see her dad. I will take her to a mutual place to see him. He can call at any time, but he doesn't. So there's not ever going to be this narrative that I'm, quote, keeping her away from him, because there are avenues whereby a relationship could happen, but that he's the one who's not taking advantage of that. And also letting her know, like, listen, this has nothing to do with you. You're amazing. Obviously, you know you're amazing. You know you're amazing. You know you're beautiful. I tell you all the time. Nana loves you, uncle loves you, mommy loves you, big mama loves you. And I'll just go through the whole list of everybody that loves her and why she's amazing. And I have to let her know everybody has a personal choice. And every grown adult makes a choice about what they want to do with their time and energy. And that tells you everything about what kind of quality of person that is. If your dad chooses not to take advantage of all the wonderfulness that is you, it's his loss, because you're amazing and there's no way I would want to miss out on it. But I can't make him do anything. And so those are just like a gist of the kind of conversations that we have. So like there's just there's no lying. I'm not here to paint him to be a saint. I'm also not here to overly demonize him either. I'm just here to be honest about what's really happening, what is going on, what is the truth of the matter, so that she can digest it little by little, incrementally as time. So it's not going to be this big elephant in the room that never gets talked about, that never gets processed, and she wouldn't feel comfortable asking me questions or whatever. And then down the road, she has all these issues about abandonment, neglect, da 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 da. So no, we're just going to deal with it a little bit at a time as things progress. I think my nails are just about done. I'm letting my nails dry because I have an event tomorrow that I'm really looking forward to. I'm going to be looking very cute. I bought a sequin dress and I'm excited about it. It's very cute. I really bought like 5 dresses and I picked one that looks really cute. So yeah, y'all, that's what I wanted to talk about. I'm sorry I was a little bit all over the place, but I'm still kind of getting my thoughts together about all of this. I think the main takeaway that I have from this situation is that um I think we just need to develop in the meantime, between time until we advance the other um you know until we advance the other um agenda, as far as just like literally just not procreating with these guys, um because they're just not deserving of fatherhood. Until we get to that place, just starting from where we are today and just not putting them on the birth certificate, helping them sign away their rights, and continuing the deprogramming of self-sacrifice, and programming Black women to be self-preserving. When Black women are self-preserving, that preservation, it spills over to the children. When Black women are self-sacrificial, that also spills over to the children. We have children leaving the earth too soon. And I told y'all the other day, I told y'all they be doing this stuff on Facebook Live. Okay, they be doing it on live. They want to go out with a bang of glory. This little baby was tortured on FaceTime. I can't imagine uh I can't imagine the hurt that that mother had to go through seeing her baby, her defenseless baby, be taken off the planet, you know, on FaceTime. I mean, I just can't imagine. I would be letting him know that he would definitely want the authorities to get to him before I did. But that's definitely a situation that it was definitely mishandled prior to the day of the big confrontation. There were signs, and I've also talked about this on the channel as well, about taking these guys serious when they say stuff like, you know I'll make her pay, or like, you'll see what I'll do, and things like that. Like, take them serious. Take all those threats seriously. Um, One of the biggest things that, um, when there's like lots of little infractions building up, and lots of things that's hard to prove in court, why rights need to be terminated, or why custody agreements need to be revisited and need to be reworked. A simple notebook from the dollar store, the composition notebook, is something that I really would advocate that Black women get and start writing everything down, because it's hard to build a case with these little infractions like, oh, he didn't feed the child, or he was late picking them up from daycare, didn't change the diaper, she was sick, did not seek treatment, or she was sick, uh, did not administer medication on schedule, unaware of allergies. All of these things have to be like written down, like the time, the date, and like what happened. Um, you have to document everything, because all these little things add up and they show a pattern. And that's basically what you're trying to do. If you need to revisit a custody agreement, if you need to revisit uh, any type of paperwork in court, having a trail, having, even if it's just you writing it down over the course of many, many months, it can help you. Now, with this particular level of bandit, ain't no way in hell he gonna show up to the court. So with a situation like that, all you have to do is just go to the court and file. They ain't gonna come. Most of these guys will not even show up in court. I would say at least half won't show up to court at all. So all you got to do is just go, um, and it'll be a default judgment, because he ain't gonna come no damn way. Half of them ain't gonna come. So for half of them, you ain't even got to worry about all this documentation. All you need to do is just go to court and get it resituated. Or you can write it down to show the judge, hey, this is why I'm in here trying to get this custody reworked, da 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 da. But it's highly likely that they're not even going to contest you, because most of them won't even show up to court. And for the ones that do, have your documentation, like just have your stuff ready to go. And don't be afraid to go there. Even the woman, remember the woman who got taken off by the nurse anesthetist? Um, her her I think she filed for a restraining order. It was very mild. It was very mild and meek. And when she was in court, the transcription, some of the notes and things that had come from like the court proceedings of the custody with the children, to me, from my perspective, she was very mild. She was very mild, and not, you know, she didn't have an arsenal to show how malignant this guy was, how suicidal he was. Please don't, please, YouTube gods, don't F up my channel because I said the word. Please, y'all, spare me. Spare me, YouTube people. Spare me. But yes, he was like when a that's like a super, super red flag because a lot of times these guys, when they want to leave the face of the earth, they want to take the babies or they want to take you with them. They don't even have the effing balls to leave the earth by them damn self. You know what I mean? Like if you want to do this thing, why you got to take the baby with you? If you want to take yourself off the planet, why can't you go stand on your own ten toes and take yourself off the face of the planet? Why you got to take the baby with you? Why you got to take the mama with you? Why you got to take the grandmama and the uncle and everybody else in the house? Why you got everybody got to go because you want to go? Ain't no way. I know mental health, mental health, mental health. Whoop de doo doo. At the end of the day, I tell y'all, black women, y'all are not a rehabilitation center. You are not a rehabilitation center. You are not a therapist. You are, even if you are a therapist, you're not his therapist. You're not his social worker. Okay? And it's not your responsibility to be there for someone when their mental health takes a dangerous turn. You need to exit stage left. When they want to take themselves off the face of the planet, you need to put as much distance between you and that person as humanly possible. If you want to call in a welfare check just so for your conscience, for your own peace of mind, so that you can sleep good at night, then go ahead and call in to the sheriff's office. Go ahead and call to the police office and do a welfare check. Hey, I have a concern that this person is going to engage in self harm, and then wash your hands of the situation, okay? And back up and put as much space and distance between you and that person as you possibly can. Your hands are clean. You have no more responsibility to that person. Your responsibility at that time is to stay safe because if they want to take themselves off the face of the planet, you best believe they're going to try to take you off with them. Especially if they got beef with you, if they got grievances with you, if they got resentment towards you, if they have envy towards you, if they blame you in any way, shape, or form for their current situation in life, you best believe that you are in imminent danger. You are in imminent danger if somebody wants to take themselves off the face of the planet and they somehow relate you to the downfall of their life, or they somehow relate you to why they're in the situation that they're in. They feel like you have caused them pain. They feel like you have caused them to be in a situation that you're in. You are in imminent danger. And you have to take all the proper precautions. And if you can't keep yourself safe where you are, you need to get your baby, you need to get your stuff, and you need to move. You need to get gone, get ghost, disappear. Because is it difficult to start over in a new city? Yes, it's difficult to start over in a new city. It's difficult to rebuild your life. It sucks to have to rebuild your life. Like it's just like it's a terribly unfortunate situation. Like, why should I have to move? Why do I have to be the one to leave? Why do I have to uproot myself because of this person? All of it sucks. All of it emphatically sucks. But you know what? You would be on the earth to be able to do it. You would be alive. You can be alive. Everything can be fixed if you are alive. You can reestablish yourself if you are alive. You can find another job if you are alive. You can find another school for your baby if you are alive. If you're here, you're breathing on the earth. Everything can be worked out. It will be uncomfortable. It will be difficult. It will be an uphill battle. It will be challenging, but at least you'll be here to be able to do it. That's why I think it's worth it to do whatever you have to do to stay on the earth, to stay alive. You can you can sort out why you ended up in the situation that you did and why you chose this person, and you could beat yourself up about it, and you could be sad and like, oh my gosh, why did I get involved with this situation, and I didn't know he was this bad, and I thought he was a good guy and he had a good job and he was in the military, or he's a veteran, or da 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 woo, 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 he's a police officer, da 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 woo, 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 woo. I didn't know. You can sort all that out, and you can unpack all of that in a safe place. So don't let the paralysis of analysis. Don't let the paralysis of analysis keep you in the situation in danger. Get up and move. Get to safety. Find a safe place to be, and then start dealing with the aftermath of what you need to do to fix your life. You'll be alive to be able to do it. That's a plus. Okay. Get up and move. Get out of harm's way. Because sometimes your family will sell you out. You got to be careful. Sometimes your family will sell you out because a lot of times they will literally fall for the person, and the person will come inside of them and say, "Oh, I want my family back. Oh, I miss her. I want to do right now." And your cousin will tell him where the hell you moved to. You know what I mean? Sometimes your own family will sell you down the river. So you have to get to safety and do it as quietly as you possibly can with as few as people knowing where the hell you are. Only the most necessary people know. You can be in touch with your family, but they don't have to know where you live. You can let them know, hey, I'm safe, but they don't need to know where safe is. Don't worry about where I'm at. I'm somewhere safe. There you go. That's enough. Well, I'm your mama. How you not gonna tell me where I'm at? Well, hey, listen, I hang up the phone. I mean, you could always change your phone number too. That works too. That works too. You need a coalition of the willing. Whoever is willing to partner with you for your safety, who's ever willing to lock arms with you in solidarity with your safety and your child's safety, is the only people that you have to be um, in communion with. And if people are sitting up here questioning you and, well, why this and where are you going and why are you being so drastic? You're being overly dramatic. I can't believe you reacting like this. You already know that that person just don't need to be on the safety and security team. Okay. Dismiss them from the safety and security team because they sit up here questioning why you moving the way you moving instead of trying to assist you in getting to safety. So that'll let you know from the very beginning who is qualified to be on the safety team and who's not. And it might be your own family that you can't really deal with. It may be your own family that you can't talk to. And that's why you need to access these domestic violence resources. And a lot of times you might think that a person have to be beating you to a bloody pulp before you qualify for domestic violence. No, if somebody throws something at you, you qualify for domestic violence services. If someone threatens you, you qualify for domestic violence services. If someone calls you over and over and over and over and over again, stalking you, sending you text messages and harassing you, you qualify for domestic violence assistance and services. You don't need to be getting drug up and down the street to access domestic violence resources. Anyway, y'all, thank y'all for tuning in. I just needed to get a bunch of stuff off of my chest, apparently, as I did my nails. I wanted to talk about something a little lighter, but this situation popped up and it took all my attention, and I've been thinking about it all day, unfortunately. So my prayer is that somebody that needs to listen to this finds this video, because I know a lot of my normal subscribers, um, y'all already know a lot of this stuff, and y'all already agree with me on a lot of this stuff. My prayer is someone who needs to hear this information, who needs permission to be bold in her own self preservation and to be courageous in her own self preservation, will hear this and know that she's not alone and that we all are rooting for her to be safe by any means necessary. All right, I'm gonna leave y'all with that. Thank you so much for tuning in. Um, please share the video and please subscribe. And we'll talk soon. Peace and love.